Hey folks, it's Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This time of Kiss of the Dragon, which is a 2001 film starring Jet Li, Bridget Fonda, and Tchéky Karyo, who is the bad guy in Bad Boys with Will Smith. Directed by a guy named Chris Nahon, who hasn't done much. He did Blood the Last Vampire, the live action movie. He's doing a film called Lady Blood Fight with Amy Johnston, I believe. But he hasn't done much. Now, the action director is Kor Yoon, who's worked on many, many films. And Luc Besson had a hand in writing this, producing this. It's from his company Europa Corp. And this is my favorite Jet Li film. Now, the reason it's my favorite Jet Li movie, it's just Jet Li being his most badass. Going around kicking ass, taking names for like 90 minutes. It's very fast paced. It's action-packed. The action scenes are extremely well done, well choreographed. You understand what's going on. The plot is straightforward. It's not confusing. Tchéky Karyo he does good as the bad guy. He played the bad guy a lot in the 90s. Again, the Bad Boys with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. He was the bad guy in that. The only weakness of the film to me is Bridget Fonda. I wasn't the biggest fan of her character. I mean, at points I could take her or leave her. Other points she was a bit too whiny and annoying. But the main reason to see this film is Jet Li. The New York Times. Li's action scenes are like an oil fire, spilling from one room into the next and lighting up the interiors with heat and wreckage. I agree with the New York Times on that. Now, I have seen other Jet Li films. There's Lethal Weapon 4, which as time has gone on, I've kind of eased up on that film because there's a lot worse sequels out there, like Beverly Hills Cop 3 and Alien 3, Alien 4, Predators, a lot more. But Lethal Weapon 4 is not my favorite. It's my least favorite of that series. But I believe that was Jet Li's American debut, and I thought Jet Li did a good job as the villain. You have Romeo Must Die, which I want to give another shot one day down the road. I just remember that having a lot of wire fu, which was like, Unleashed, I really enjoyed as well as this one. The one, kind of, I'm okay, kind of off and on, all right type of movie. Again, that's another one I want to see again someday down the road. I have it on DVD, so I remember when I first saw it, that was decent. Let's see. The Forbidden Kingdom with him and Jackie Chan, that was pretty lame. Once Upon a Time in China movies I could never really get into, but I do like Fist of Legend. I do like the one he did with Michelle Yeoh. Was it Twin Warriors or something? I can't remember what that was called. I don't mind that one. I'm sure there are others, but I'm forgetting it right now. But yeah, this was always my favorite. Jet Li is a cop from China who comes to Paris in his top secret mission. They're supposed to be working with the French cops, including Tchéky Karyo. And they're watching this guy who gets some call girls. One of them is Bridget Fonda, who's nervous and goes in the bathroom to puke, while the other is having fun with this guy they're watching. And she kills the guy, and Jet Li tries to stop her, but then Tchéky Karyo comes in, kills the hooker and the guy, blames it on Jet Li. Jet Li escapes. He has to prove his name, as well as meeting Bridget Fonda as his hooker who has a kid, and the kid is held up by the bad guy. So it's Jet Li running around Paris, kicking ass, trying to prove his innocence, as well as saving this girl's daughter at the end of the film. And it's very straightforward. It's not that long of a movie. 90 some minutes long. Again, the action scenes are well handled, well directed, well choreographed. Definitely good job by Kor Yoon. I like that the fighting's a bit more realistic and less wire fu, like Romeo Must Die. And that's what I mean. He's sort of certain action stars have their badass movie, like Jean-Claude Van Damme in Hard Target. He's just badass, kicking everybody's ass left and right. Arnold, it's Commando. For Stallone, it's like Cobra, the Rambo films. For Jet Li, it's Kiss of the Dragon. I mean, when he gets framed and he has to escape, he's trying to get out of this hotel, and he gets in this laundry room, and he's smacking the shit out of people with, what do you call that, laundry tables, like ironing boards, I should say, ironing boards, getting irons that are still on, heating their hands up, heating their faces up, smack them in the face with irons, and then kicking people, getting this glass door, slamming it on a guy's face, using any equipment nearby to kick the shit out of them. I mean, then you have a moment, another little bit after that, where he's in a laundry chute, and Tchéky Karyo and the other bad guys are shooting at him. He's trying to avoid, and they try to burn him out with real fire. They're using actual real fire in this scene. And then they like throw a grenade up, and Jet Li catches it, drops down, tosses the grenade as he's falling down. And then Tchéky Karyo's show how much of an asshole his bad guy is. He takes one of his men, because when he threw the grenade, Jet Li threw the grenade as he's falling down, and it went to a guy's sleeve, and he's trying to get it out, and Tchéky Karyo puts him in the laundry chute, and the guy blows up, and real flames coming down, and Jet Li getting out of the way, trying to help other people in the area get out of the way. Just well done, well executed action scene, and then it cuts to what's left of the guy, like half of his body that just slumps down and with blood, and I'm like, man, they don't make action movies like this too often. I mean, you saw stuff like that, Logan and John Wick 2 and such, but this is back in the day, man. Back in the day when you saw that stuff much more often. And he's still kicking ass, taking names. There's this guy in the sort of the main room of the hallway, and he pulls out these two crazy looking submachine guns, and Jet Li is running trying to avoid gunfire, and he looks at a a pool table, and it's one of the pool tables that when the ball goes in the pocket, there's like a little net underneath, so you can grab the ball back. Where he comes up, he kicks the ball right out. He does sort of a fuck you kick, hitting the cue ball that shoots out, hits the bad guy right in the head, kills his ass dead. That reminds me of Hard Target when John Van Damme does that fuck you kick when the guy's riding the motorcycle. This is Jet Li's fuck you kick with a cue ball as he popped it out. Boom, hits again a bad guy right in the head and kills his ass. That's what I mean. It's like this is Jet Li as a badass, going around kicking ass, taking names. And when the action's not there, I never minded Jet Li. I mean, he's not an Oscar caliber actor, and he's not one of the best actors, but I like his presence. I like the fact he's a small guy, but he can be very fast, lightning fast. He really good at his martial arts. His handling of English is fine. I understood what he was saying. It's not like I was confusing or I needed subtitles or anything. And I liked his presence. I think he has a good look to him. The score I thought fit nicely. I like some of the songs in the film. I like the song at the end credits. I forget the actual name of the song, but there's also some of the songs during the fight scenes. Like there's one like I'm a dirty dog, I'm a dirty dog, I'm an outlaw, nothing like you've seen before. And then there's another one where he fights these two guys, sort of twins. I like the song during that scene, so I thought the soundtrack was decent. I thought the score fit the film fine. And like I was saying, when the action is not there, I thought it was well photographed. I mean, from what I understand, Chris Nahon directed the scenes with dialogue, and then Corey Yuen directed the action scenes. And so the best credit would go to Corey Yuen. But even Chris Nahon, I thought it was a nice usage of the France locations. Sometimes you see the Eiffel Tower in the background or other places. I thought it was a good looking movie. It didn't look cheap. It did not look like a direct to video film. Some nice locations they have. For example, you see right there where that's the Eiffel Tower right in the background. I believe that is. I've never been to France. That sure looks like it. But that's a scene where Jet Li's on this big old boat that has a couple decks to it, and he's trying to meet a friend there, and he gets shot. And that's another scene where Jet Li has to kick ass, and it leads from going there, breaking this window out of the ship, pulling himself up, fighting on top of the ship, fighting in the kitchen. I'm not going to go through every single detail so I don't ruin every single action scene for people who have not seen it. But I thought it was well photographed. I thought the idea in France was used well. It wasn't because sometimes they go to France or they go to Europe, but most of the film is shot in like 4 buildings, or here's 3 warehouses, and there's one outdoor shot, and that one outdoor shot tells us we're in France. It's like no, they use a lot of location shoots, and it made sense. Just Luc Besson had a hand in him and Robert Mark Kamen when Robert Mark Kamen was worth a shit as a writer. And it's actually based on a story by Jet Li, which I think is interesting. And yeah, it's produced by Luc Besson and Jet Li, as well as Stephen Chasman and Happy Walters. Happy Walters. Huh? Well, happy go lucky me. And again, the film doesn't have too many subplots to let the action slow down too much. Again, my only problem is Bridget Fonda. Certain points, I don't mind her. I think she's a good actress. I don't mind her acting. She's this hooker, and at one point she's outside this place that Jet Li's holding up, and this guy who has him there, but he knows that he's a cop from overseas, but has it at his restaurant place. And she wants to use the restroom. He ultimately lets her, and she's not a mean girl. She's not a nasty girl of any sort, even though she's a hooker. She has the sob story where we find out Tchéky Karyo had lied to her, and she was gullible, took her to France. She has a kid. She has to do this, otherwise she won't see her kid again. She gets beaten up a lot by her pimp, and you have a moment later on where Jet Li goes, "I would appreciate it if you don't do that again." And the guy tries it again, and Jet Li just grabs him, just bitch slaps the crap out of him. Beats the fuck out of these guys, and then you get this big, muscled up black guy, this big, muscled up guy. And that's where you get that song, "I'm a Dirty Dog." I like that fight scene. I thought that was well done. Again, Bridget Fonda, it's just at points she seemed a bit too whiny, a bit too. Part of me wishes she either wasn't in the film, or if her character was written better, or if she acted less fucking whiny. But she doesn't ruin the film for me. Again, some points of the flick I could deal with her. Other points is like, oh, shut up, lady. Please, shut the fuck up. But yeah, nice use of locations of France. It's a good looking film, cinematography wise. Goes at a fast pace. I think Jet Li has a good presence in this movie. They definitely photograph him well as the hero of the movie. Tchéky Karyo, he's fun as the bad guy. And the action scenes by Jet Li are fantastic in this. It's less wire fu and more realistic street fighting, down to earth fighting. All well choreographed, understood every scene that was going on, understood every moment that was going on. Didn't notice shaky cam or horribly quick cut editing that they do nowadays. And a very satisfying finale. Just one thing leads to another. She gets hurt, put in a hospital, which is one moment where she's whining like, "You promised my daughter, you promised." It's like, the bitch, the guy is doing the best they can. Give him a fucking break and shut up. Jesus. I understand it's your daughter, but, come on now. People may think that's a bit too harsh, but come on, lady. But Jet Li, he's the good guy of the film. He's going to get the daughter back, and really fun finale. Well, another thing that is fun is he has this tendency. Okay, it's not on the cover, but on his wrists, he has these little needles that deal with acupuncture. And at times, for example, there's a sequence earlier in the film where he's trying to get some either weapons or equipment. And he goes to this locker, one of those lockers in a public place, and unfortunately some cops are there and see this. And he's able to get some needles and acupuncture them so that they can't move. Like, they're fine, they're not hurt or anything, but they can't move. And the reason I bring up the acupuncture is it comes in very well at the end of the film, which deals with the title of the flick, which I thought was a really cool idea. But that's what I'm talking about. When you get to the finale, Jet Li is just the one-man army badass, which was fun to see. I mean, it's sort of the moment where Van Damme becomes the superhero at the end in the Mardi Gras scene in Hard Target. Arnold becomes the superhero in Commando when he just blowing the shit out of that compound to get his daughter. Rambo becomes the superhero Rambo 2, where he just blows the shit out of everybody with a helicopter. This is after blowing a guy up with a C4 tip explosive, and then after all that, did a machine gun M60. Here he goes into the police station. There's a guy in a little booth saying, "You should stop there." He kicks his leg right through the booth to knock the guy the fuck out. And big hole there. Just kicks the fuck out of the guy through the booth. Some guys get guns. He grabs the flag and beats the shit out of them. He sneaks in, and there happens to be a room where a bunch of people are training in martial arts. And he gets these two batons and beats the fuck out of them, beats the shit out of their legs so they can't walk for a month, beats the fuck out of their faces with these batons, clears out the whole room. Then he goes in and he deals with these two twins. One's a bigger guy who has slower but more powerful thrust of his kick. Another guy who's much faster with his kicks, and he has to deal with both of them. And again, I forget what the name of the song during that scene, but I really enjoyed that. Another very well done fight, back and forth, equally. It's not like, oh, Jet Li only has 2 hits. No, it's a satisfying back and forth, has the right length of time. Jet Li uses the environment against the guy so that when the guy tries to kick, Lee has moved him and maneuvered him so that it's hard for him to do. And Jet Li beating the shot out with his hands, sort of fakes him out with one hand, hits him in the face. Another again hits him in the face, and kills these guys. Again, I keep saying badass, but that's the word you use. Guy tries to do a flip, and Jet Li catches him, slams him down, and breaks his neck, which was a better way of doing it than they did in that shitty A-Team movie, where that, who the hell played B.A. Baracus in that? Rampage Jackson. He did like a thing and slammed the guy down to break his neck amidst all this CGI trailer, all these CGI trailers flying around in the shipyard. This was the cooler way of doing it. And then the other guy gets pissed, and the guy and Jet Li beats the shit out of him, does one of those haymakers that hits right on both of his ears, and does a kick that's so powerful, breaks the guy's neck, and goes one-on-one with Tchéky Karyo, lets himself get shot so that he can, with his teeth, pull one of those acupuncture needles out and puts it right in the back of his neck. "I got you. I got you too." And Tchéky Karyo goes, "What the hell? Why I can't move?" "Put a needle right there. Forbidden point. Forbidden place. Kiss of the dragon." And then Tchéky's like, "Kiss my ass." And the thing is, the acupuncture needle he put in the Tchéky is makes all the guy's blood flow to the top of his head but not come down. So later on, when he lets it go, he bleeds from his eyes, his nose, and his mouth, and he bleeds to death in a painful manner. And I'm like, I don't, that may be total bullshit, but that's cool. I think that's a cool way to kill a guy, and for the story it told, I bought it. People can tell me how much bullshit it is. I don't care. Within the story, I bought it, hook, line, and sinker, and I thought it was cool. I'm like, that's a cool, different, unique way of taking out the bad guy, and I enjoyed that. But it did not seem hokey or cheesy to me. And Jelly brings the and the daughter. You see her only a handful of times, but they picked a cute little girl. She was not annoying. In fact, before it, he tells the girl to leave, and the girl goes, "Goodbye, mister," and leaves. She wasn't annoying at all, so they did a good job with that. Jilly has the daughter with the Bridget Fonda, and again, I like the song at the end of the film. I know one of the lyrics is "I adore you." I forget the name of the track, but yeah. Again, my only problem is Bridget Fonda. I think they could have written her character better, or to be less whiny or less irritating at times. But yeah, other than that, I thought the Paris locations were used well. I thought it had some good photography. Jet Li had a great presence, and to me, he was absolutely badass in the movie. Lots of great fight scenes and action scenes that are well choreographed and well directed. Very satisfying finale. Pretty damn decent soundtrack. Score that fit the film fine. Tchéky Karyo did good as the bad guy. And of course, with an action film, you gotta have action scenes worth a shit, and this definitely does. And I think it's an underrated film because no one ever talks about this movie. No one ever mentions this movie. I looked up on YouTube. I can only find two other people who reviewed this film. Only two. And I think that's a shame because this deserves a lot more. And yeah, the New York Times, a new standard for action, San Francisco Chronicle. It's not merely a thriller, but a shocker. I don't know if this film did well when it came out, but yeah, this will always be my favorite Jet Li film. I think it's an excellent action movie. If you like films a la Taken or that kind of stuff, I think this is definitely worth a look. It's rated R and like a true rated R, not like a bullshit rated R. 20th Century Fox released this, and this is when they were not entirely 20th Century Fuckface. Even after Alien 3 and 4, still they did stuff like this. I guess Anchor Bay and Stars released this Blu-ray. For those interested, the Blu-ray, it looked great on Blu-ray. There are zero features. In fact, there's not even a menu. There's not even a menu on this Blu-ray. So there's no trailers, no TV spots, no extra features, no interviews. I'll keep my. I don't even know if there was much on the DVD, but yeah, there's. If you're going into this, again, not even a fucking menu. How cheap can you be? But I thought the film looked fine on Blu-ray, and that's why I'm glad to have it. I love this movie. And I like this cover better than the DVD because the DVD is just Jet Li going like this, and it looks like his shirt's like opened up as if like it's this. Pretty much, this is the cover. See, it looks like his shirt's open up. Like, is he getting ready to dance to do the salsa? I mean, that's pretty much the cover of the DVD. I like this cover more. This cover, even when I looked at the actual posters, the posters were lame. It's pretty much Jet Li and then some fire. And I'm thinking, if that's why the film didn't do well, it makes sense because the marketing sucked. But yeah, this cover I enjoy. I think this is a cool cover. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you later. Bye bye. And what I'll try to do, real quick, like, is I'm going to try to put some clips down below. So if you want to see some of the scenes, I'm going to try to put in some of the action scenes for those who want to give a look. So feel free to check the info box down below. And once again, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you in the next video. Later.